Hi, Jennifer Stuart here, and I'm so glad to have with me Shonda Moralis today as part of the iShine Bright series. I know Shonda is an amazing addition to this series because she's so wonderful at helping moms and women be able to get in touch with themselves and deal with this world. So a little introduction on Shonda. So she's a women's mindful empowerment coach and psychotherapist in private practice with over 20 years of experience. She specializes in stress-related disorders and women's issues. And oh my goodness, is there a lot of stress in our world nowadays? So that is much needed. She's trained as a mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher back in 2006. So she's got a lot of experience, and she presents workshops and keynotes in numerous settings, including workplace and leadership mindfulness trainings. So she had an award-winning first book, Breathe, Mama, Breathe, which had 5-minute mindfulness for busy moms. It was a Parents Magazine Mom Must Read. And she's got a new book coming out next fall called Breathe, Empower, Achieve. 5-minute mindfulness to ditch the stress without losing your edge. And it's going to be helping high achieving women. And obviously, if you're a high achieving woman, you know, like the stress that comes with that. So, oh my goodness, this is so much needed. And she lives in Pennsylvania with her husband and 2 kids, and she loves to play outside. Very good for de-stressing. And is perennially fascinated by what makes people tick. Oh, I can totally relate to that, Shonda. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm so glad to have you on here because it's so important for women and parents to be able to take a moment and like take care of yourself, right? Because how can we give to others if we have nothing inside? So I love your focus on that you spent so many years on now. It's
right.
I know as a mom, and when I was a new mom, like I totally had that like guilt and did not do that very much for myself. So
Oh yeah. When I was first a mom, I was definitely in that perfectionistic. I have to do everything perfectly and just right, and don't mess it up and don't make a mistake. And that is so much pressure. Oh yeah. I feel for that young mom because that was rough.
yes, totally. And then I would feel bad if I would try to do something for myself and not maybe like outright I would feel bad, but in the back of my brain, there'd be that little voice like, but you should be doing this for your child or your house or whatever. It's
Oh, absolutely.
that
Yes.
little voice.
Or loud voice, as the case may be.
Yes, for me, it probably was very loud. I think I like to remember that it was quiet.
That's right.
But
It didn't just whisper. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for sure. So I love, obviously your focus on trying to help moms find little ways to be able to take a pause, and that it's important and it's okay. It's necessary, not just okay.
Exactly.
And so what are some of the first steps for those moms out there who feel like they've lost touch with themselves, right? Because that often happens. We have kids and we forget like who in the world we were to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So how do we begin to find ourselves again and listen to our own guidance?
Right. I think even before that is recognizing that maybe we have lost touch because we can be so in it that we are just one thing after the other. We're just attacking that to-do list and surviving sometimes, that we forget like that we have even lost touch, or we don't recognize it, I should say. So first it's recognizing it. And that comes in the form of, do I have time set aside for myself for things that just light me up? Even just a few minutes, 15 minutes a day of something that lights me up and energizes me. And we might have the intention, we might recognize that we've lost touch with that and feel like, well, by the time I get to the end of my day, I am so exhausted that forget that. I don't even care anymore to do that. So it's really, I'm a big, big proponent of 5-minute mindfulness because we really can shift things with just 5 minutes a day. It's first recognizing and being aware and intentional about what fills me up. So I definitely can relate that. I will see women in my office sometimes and they come in and I'll ask, what do you like to do for fun? And they just kind of are like deer in the headlights, you know? And Yeah, because they've lost touch with that. So it's first, sometimes we can go back to what we like to do as kids. And that's why, I say I love to play outside. I do. And that kind of reconnects me to to that playful nature that we can really lose touch with all of our responsibilities. So to answer your question, first of all, it's recognizing if we've lost,
Yeah.
and then just carving out 5 minutes in our day at a time when maybe it's not the end of the day. Maybe it can be if we're still awake, but other times. And how can we be really creative with our partners, with our friends, with whoever we can, or even just teaching our kids to play by themselves. God forbid
Yeah.
that we also feel like we have to play and entertain our kids all the time, but it's so good for them to be able to learn how to entertain themselves for little bits of time so that we can sit down and read a book for 15 minutes or stretch for 15 minutes or meditate, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
Depending on the age, of course. I mean, you don't want
No,
an 18-year-old
definitely.
unsupervised for 15 minutes. That could be a whole, yes. But
Well, that's a whole nother topic for another day, but I believe actually it's very good for children in many ways to be able to entertain themselves and to be creative.
Right.
So yeah, that's a whole nother child development topic, but that's actually good. Parents should not feel bad about that.
Well, I think it is another topic, but it's also, comes back to the guilt. We need to give ourselves permission as moms that when we feel so much guilt about, I should be entertaining them, they're going to be bored. And I always think, I always say to my kids, my daughter stopped asking a long time ago or telling me she was bored, because I would just say that is the precursor to creativity. And she would just walk away like, so yeah, it is. They need boredom. They need to learn to entertain themselves. So to give ourselves permission that we are doing something good for them while we can maybe play next to them or, simultaneously.
Yeah, no, that's very true. There's been a lot of research done on that, as children who are bored actually develop amazing and creativity and problem solving. And no, that's
right.
yeah, do not feel bad. Yes, please,
Exactly.
all moms out there, if your
Right.
child has to entertain themselves for a while, it's good for them. It's going to help them
Right.
grow in amazing ways. Yeah, they've shown that kids who can play best on their own actually end up being the best academically when they're older.
Uh-huh. Yes.
We want to have them do that for sure. No, I love that. And I think it's important too, as you're saying, we have to carve time out, but that it's really important that you schedule that. I think as moms, we schedule everything for our kids and our family, right? We put them first. We've got that all planned out. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe if there's something left, I'll do it. But then by the time you're too tired,
right.
Make it a part of your day, your schedule, right?
Exactly. And what I've learned personally is that I need to schedule exercise, and I really prioritize that as way up, on top of right underneath the absolute must, having to go to school and when we're at work and those kinds of things. I figure out every week, and it might look different. My schedule changes all the time. This is where my exercise goes in, because I know, and they know, mommy will be much happier if she has gotten to exercise. And I am. And it's just a better environment for everyone if I've had that time. So I'm very protective of that. And it used to feel selfish in the beginning. And I'd also have that feeling of this is an hour I am taking away from being with my kids, but it's better for everyone. So yes, everyone adapts.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because then I think it leads back to what I was originally thinking about, is that can help then us get back to who we are and getting in touch with us on the inside, because we need to be able to, I think as parents, we need to be able to listen to our own inner guidance.
Right.
And I think there's so much pressure in society constantly telling parents, like, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. But you know what? Every family and every child is different. And I think if we can pause and really focus and listen to what we're feeling and thinking and hearing from the inside, that's going to really affect the way that we parent. But I think, like you pointed out, if we don't first pause and get in touch with ourselves, like, that's going to be shut down. We're not going to hear any of that.
Exactly. And also I'm a big proponent of meditation, and just 5 minutes of meditation. So meditation can look different for all kinds of people. It could be prayer, it could just be sitting quietly or meditating, focusing on the breath or some other point of focus. And that opens up that space that you're talking about for awareness, for insight, to just recognize all that's here, so that we aren't just jumping on all of the fires and putting out fires and unconsciously going about our day all the time, because that's what we always do. We recognize, hey, something's off, or something, I'm missing something, or it's too much of something, and we kind of recalibrate the balance there.
Yeah, no, I love that, because I think that's at the heart of conscious parenting is being in tune in general, being in tune with ourselves, and then being in tune with our children. So yeah,
Right.
I love that. So if you pause and meditate or whatever it is that you need to open that up so that you can hear and
Right.
feel and know what is happening. I mean, our own feelings and our intuition are amazing, but if we have the constant chatter around us and we don't know how to shut that out, we're
Yes.
not going to hear
Right.
what's coming out from the inside.
Or
Yeah.
recognize it for what it is. So yes, exactly. Getting in touch with the body, and the body always gives us clues about all kinds of emotions and thoughts, because they're all tied together. We can call it the triangle of awareness, how our thoughts, 3 points of a triangle, our thoughts, our body, sensations, and emotions, and so interconnected and affect one another. So yes, and if our body sensations, if we feel a little nausea in our stomach, or a lump in our throat, or tense shoulders, that's information. Something's up. So we're not at ease, and that can lead us in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like I keep hearing from a lot of the families I work with about so much pressure from the outside, whether it's from, the grandparents telling them their kids need to do a certain thing, or from everybody on the block as all the kids are doing this one sport, or
Oh, yeah.
everybody's in this level of math, or, all the other 3-year-olds down the street are reading, I mean,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But
Yes.
yes, being able to pause and know what's right on the inside for you and
Mm.
your child.
And their timelines are so different, and and most often they will get to a lot of the same place, but yeah, it looks so different. And I know for myself, my kids are both I have 2 kids that are 10 years apart. They're 7 and 17, and they were both very slow to warm kids. So I have the benefit of my daughter she's a senior heading off to college in the fall. When my second book is born, my baby will be going off to college. um, but I have the benefit of seeing that she's turning out okay, knock on wood. That when I have my little one who's only in first grade. So to see him, and she was the same exact way. He loves to play basketball, loves it. Comes home, he plays Nerf basketball in the house. He plays it when he gets outside. He plays in the snow outside and plays basketball. It's all he wants to do. So it came time to sign him up for basketball, and he had done it last year. The same thing happened. The first 2 practices, he sat on the sidelines with me and cried and tried to hold in his tears and wanted desperately to get out there, but was scared. And so that is a really hard moment. First of all, I know he loves to play, and when he gets out there, he's going to have a great time. And all these parents are, hey, Ben, come on, play. Hey, come on out and play. And what's wrong? And you feel this like, oh, every other kid is out there playing. But I had to sit and know that I felt uncomfortable in my body. He certainly did. And I have to hold that space for him, that it's okay, and he'll get there. Maybe this year, maybe next year. And after the second time, I went out with him onto the court, and now he's loving life and playing. It's not a problem anymore. But it was very tempting to react and to feel like I might want to say, like, let's just go home, forget it, or get out there, or, any of those reactive behaviors, and to just sit with him and allow it and support him and encourage him at the same time, nudging him, but not forcing him into something that he wasn't ready for. It is hard. It's
Yeah,
really hard.
it is so hard, because I mean, as a mom, right, we have that little, like, that mama bear comes out, and you just want to protect them from everything. But obviously, if we
Yes.
protect them from everything, then we're not ever allowing them that chance to grow and that chance to kind of push themselves over the edge, within reasonable limits, but just a little bit out of their
Right.
comfort zone so they can grow. But I
Right.
mean, you're in tune with your child enough. You knew what he needed. You knew that he just needed that moment to sit there, and it's okay. It's okay that he didn't
Right.
behave like all the other kids and ran out there right away. He was
Right.
listening to what he needed, and you were in tune with him. I mean, that's a perfect example of conscious parenting. I love that. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have to remind a lot of the parents all the time that it's okay that their child is developing certain things faster than others and certain things slower than others. That's fine. Everyone's going to grow up and they're eventually going to be amazing to be their own selves. And we don't want to have every child is going to be the best at the same things, right? They're all going to have their own talents so that we have these different individuals who can grow up and be amazing in different professions and do different things with their own abilities. So
Exactly.
it's okay.
Yeah. And when we can let them flourish and explore all those areas of what lights them up, then that is where they will excel. Because inevitably if we allow ourselves to find those areas, and they can be so off the typical radar, so that's hard sometimes too. But that is where, if we let our kids do that, they will excel. They will eventually.
Yeah, no, I love that because I see there's all the families and the kids I deal with, they're all so very different, but they all have their own little abilities. And I love to see that. And that's one of the parts of the job that I love that for my local business is helping the parents see, like, it's okay, your child's not good at that, but your child is amazing at these other things. And let's grow those abilities and see what they're going to do with that. I know, my oldest child was a little bit of a slower reader in the beginning. And then by the end of first grade, she was the top in her class, but she didn't really read in the beginning. And I love that I have that story and that knowledge because I'm working with young kids at the age when they're starting to begin to read. And it really worries parents. It's very stressful, when all these other kids are doing a certain thing but that can translate to anything in life. Right. It's okay. They're going to get there in their time. If we can just, listen to our guidance and listen to them, then we'll be able to help them to be their best.
Yeah. And love them up for all of just who they are and not what they do, which is what can be hard.
Yes, no, it is hard, especially, in our society is very driven by like test results and competition based and who gets the highest score. And as opposed to often like who's being the best version of themselves. I love teaching the little kids in our school, like to have them say, I did my best, because they will at 3 and 4 years old, they will compete with each other for who completes the project first. I'm like, did you do your best? And now so that they're starting to catch on, they'll, after a few months into school, they'll be like, I did my best.
Oh, that's great. Yes. It's about effort completely. We want to see effort. Yeah. Yes. And I'm seeing that too. And again, to come back to that point of moms or parents and how to check ourselves, because we can start to tense up around all of this outside societal pressure, even if it's not direct. Thinking about my daughter going through the whole college process, and she is not she's very bright. She works so hard, but she's not a great standardized test taker. And all of these kids are going on a Saturday and taking SAT classes so they can raise their scores. And I said, you know what, if you really want to do it, that's fine. But I really don't feel the need for you to spend a Saturday for months or weeks to take a test. That just, so that whole thing. But also feeling sometimes like, oh, am I being a bad mom for saying, don't do that? Because everybody else seems to be doing it, like you're talking about. We can feel peer pressure too, even at a very
major. There's major parent peer pressure. It is no joke.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Right. Yeah. What's right for us, what's right for me, and what's right for my daughter and my family. And she puts enough pressure on herself. She does not need to go and do that.
Yes. No, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you're able to do that and block that out, because it's really hard. The pressure as a parent is real. And, especially I think oftentimes we try to reach out to our family for help, but the pressure from them oftentimes is even more. So then it's like, you have to find your little tribe that you can bond with and take your moments, your mindfulness moments, and listen to yourself and know like they're going to be okay. And you have that viewpoint now. Your daughter's going off to college. That's got to be amazing. So you're raising your little one with the knowledge that like it's going to be okay.
Right. Right.
Everybody's going to be okay. If
That's
he doesn't
right.
wear
Yeah.
the jacket on the chilly day, or,
Oh yeah, that's
you
another
know,
one.
he doesn't eat his vegetables every single
Uh-huh.
night, like, he'll live. He will.
Exactly. Yeah, you take the long view. When you take the long view, you can see it's, yes, choices do matter. However, we can get really wrapped up in the details.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with the judgment from our peers. Oftentimes it's not even said, but with when people are looking at you, or sometimes maybe it's not even, maybe they even aren't, but you feel like they are.
Mhm.
And so there's that internal like idea of peer pressure, of
Right.
how, there's all the Pinterest and all this stuff that makes everybody look like beautiful and perfect. But obviously it's, there's real life behind all those beautiful
That's right.
pictures.
They have their moments too. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, and I think that, it's important for parents to realize too that our kids are teaching us, right?
Mm.
They're teaching us oftentimes way more than we realize.
Oh
And if
yes.
we're able to pause and not take offense to what we're learning
Yes.
through that, right? We can learn to work through maybe issues that we have left over from, we wanted our childhood to go a certain way that it didn't work out in certain aspects. Um, so if we're able to pause and learn from our kids. So I don't know if you've experienced that when you're with the women that you work with sometimes.
Oh, I thought you say personally. I'm like, oh yes, yeah. And so piece of that, I think an important piece is recognizing our triggers. You were saying from childhood, and just or different triggers of who we are. So maybe we get triggered when we feel like there's a lack of respect there, or whatever that is, or not listening, or not paying attention. And so to know our own triggers, that when we're depleted and we're not feeling like we've taken care of ourselves, we are easily triggered. And so how to manage that and also take care of ourselves, the self-care piece, so that we can say, oh, there, I feel a little of this resistance. I feel this here, it's happening. And how do I want to respond? How do I want to choose my response rather than just reacting out of anger or frustration? And so, yes. What was the original question?
Yeah, no, I love that. Yes, you segued a little bit, but that comes back to being mindful of ourselves. So that, life's stressful. Being a parent is stressful. It's beautiful, but it's stressful.
Right.
And being able to have enough, being in tune with ourselves and having taken enough time to fill ourselves up so
Mm-hmm.
that we can choose our response, like you said, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to just reacting.
Right.
That's beautiful, because that's, modeling for our kids, of course, but then also being able to not just lash out when they're upset, but take a moment. They're going to have meltdowns. They're going to not get their way. That's going to happen. But to
Mm-hmm.
take a moment, breathe, and then deal with it in an appropriate way when it's appropriate.
Exactly. So you were saying you started out with the lessons, how they teach us lessons, right? That's
Yes.
kind of when we start. Yes. Yeah. And that's absolutely so. And again, can we be open to that? What's going on here? So if they're behaving, or if they're not acting in the way we want them to, or if it's my son sitting on the sideline at basketball, what's going on here? What is his internal situation, and what does he need as best I can, when he may not be able to verbalize that. So that's it. And we can learn so much from, and learn who they are, and learn the nuances of them. Yes, and then they teach us how to grow and expand, whether we like it or not.
Well,
So,
definitely. I think if we can pay attention to what we're triggered by, like you were mentioning earlier, then we can get in tune more with ourselves and what do we need to work on? Because often what we're triggered by in others is an issue that we have internally, whether it's
right.
left over from the past or something new that's coming up. So they can teach us so much about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we can take that and we can sit with that in one of the mindfulness moments and
Right.
figure out how to grow through it.
We're
Right?
gonna have an interruption here. Sorry.
That's
My
okay.
daughter's walking in the door. I didn't realize she was gonna be home. So, hi, I'm doing an interview, so can you just be quiet for a minute? Okay, sorry. We're gonna have to
That's
cut
okay.
that.
There's a real parenting moment.
Yes. I was thinking she gets home at 10 after 3, but nope, now.
That's okay. Beautiful. No, so I think it's always amazing. I mean, I find even with the kids that I teach, like they teach me stuff all the time. I am always learning from everybody around me. And I think if we're open to that, right? And open to the little lessons that come in here and there, I mean, that's amazing room for growth as an
Absolutely.
individual.
What can we learn? What can we learn in any situation, especially the challenging ones?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you want to share, before we start to wrap it up in a little bit here, if you want to share a couple ideas for moms to be able to pause and to find the mindfulness. Want to give a little
Sure.
insight into that?
Sure. So, what I teach in my books are mindful breaks, which are opportunities, reminders throughout the day, anytime in the midst of our day. So, we don't have to necessarily stop what we're doing and go meditate or do yoga or something like that. We can have that cup of coffee and be aware of what it feels like in our hands and taking a sip and coming back to the moment with full awareness. We can do it while we're folding the laundry or while we're driving the car. So those are moments just to kind of bring us back throughout the day. And what that does is not only just help us ground ourselves, but it can help increase our energy throughout the day, because if we're tight and frantic and urgent and running around nonstop all day long, that's exhausting. So when we pause and go, oh, I can take a breath and I can notice what's happening here, relax my body, that sustains our energy throughout the day. So that's really helpful. A couple of mindful breaks that are helpful are the stop mindful break. That's one that a lot of people like. And S stands for stop, pause what you're doing. T is take a deep breath in and out. O is for observe. So we might observe what I look around and see, or I might observe what's happening in my body. And then P is for proceed on to the next part of your day with a little more awareness. So it's stop, take a breath, observe, and proceed. And it's just a little interruption there to kind of bring us back. Another one I might have mentioned when we had an interview before is everybody loves the 3-breath hug with their kids. So it's giving your child or spouse or whoever a big bear hug, and then you coordinate your 3 deep inhales and deep exhales together. And it's really connecting. It can be calming. If a child is kind of having a little bit of a meltdown, some kids respond to it then and some don't. I've known some people that kind of do a family 3-breath hug before they leave for the day, to kind of say their goodbye, or when they come home. So that's a really nice way to bring yourselves back to the moment and connect as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that the hug, the 3-breath hug would be beautiful in the mornings if everyone's
Mm-hmm.
going off to school. And then I love what you said, the stop one. I mean, that's something that parents could use right when there's a meltdown or something going on,
Yes.
right? That's a beautiful reminder to come back into our awareness and our thinking, before we react and do something
Yes.
later we have to apologize for. Right?
And one other one is to just bring our hands to our chest when we're feeling, for us as moms, if we're feeling guilt or stress or overwhelm or any of those unpleasant emotions or sensations, to your chest and take a few deep breaths. And that can release some oxytocin, that connection hormone, and really reminds us, it's like, I'm here. I got you. I'm taking care of you. And it gives us permission for a little self-care.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's beautiful. I mean, and those are things that moms can fit in easily. It's still great if they can fit in a longer going to a yoga class or going for a walk or whatever they need. Those are still beautiful things. Don't skip those. But these are
Right.
ways to come back to ourselves throughout the day, because I mean, to be honest, it's beautiful to have those long, stretches of being relaxed, but sometimes, obviously throughout the day, little things are going to come up. It's just life. So yeah, how do we come back to that?
Right. Or, when we have, where I live in the Northeast, I live in Pennsylvania, and there's snow days and there's viruses going around. I mean,
Yeah.
you have sick days and snow days and everybody's inside. And so those kinds of times too, and maybe you can't maybe you have a structure in your week where you normally will get out to do these things and you're not able to do that.
Yeah.
So these are some really helpful tools in those when the balance is already off by nature of what's going on in our lives, and we're more in survival mode
Yeah.
thriving mode.
Yes, I think every mom can relate to those survival mode days,
Yeah.
moments,
Yes,
weeks, sometimes
exactly.
if everybody's sick.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. And I know I want listeners to be able to go to your website. I know Shonda has some amazing information and giveaways for you if you sign up for her email list over there. If you want to give a little bit of information, what do they get if they come on over
Sure.
to your
So
website?
Right. So signing up for my email list, you'll have access to a free 5-minute guided meditation where I teach you how to meditate very basically, a guided coffee mindful break, and I provide a mindful log. So it's where you can track week by week your practice of meditation and mindful breaks. And it's really helpful to keep us accountable and to see how we progress, because it's subtle sometimes, the progress that we make. So it keeps us aware of that. And also on Instagram, I'm very active on there and often running a lot of giveaways for Breathe Mama Breathe. And I know I'm definitely running one for Mother's Day, which is still a little while away. But yes, so to be on the lookout there too.
Yeah, no, beautiful. I love that. And I love the mindful log, because I think so often we can have the best intentions, right? So people will be listening to this. They're like, oh, that's great. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my moments. And then they have to go pick up their kids from school, and then they have to make dinner. And then they totally forgot about what it was that they were going to do. So
Right.
I love that. You have a little way to keep yourself accountable.
Right.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me again today, Shonda. I had a
Thank
great
you.
time talking.
Same.
And
Same.
I
Thanks
hope,
for all the work you're doing.
yeah, thank you. And I hope that our listeners were able to take away some more little ideas and tidbits that they can try out in their life and in their parenting. And we're hoping to make a difference for everyone to be able to become more in tune with themselves and with their children, and to enjoy their time with their kids, because they're going to be grown up and going off to college and taking SATs before you know it.
I know it. Right. That's right. Take it from
For
me.
sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting.